Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sandwich of Coherency. So, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. As you know, in the last few episodes, we have been going over what's been going on with the Supreme Court. And I'm sure many of you have heard that we have leftist groups, and people will say that's just being mean, calling them leftists, but no, that's what they are. They admit to it, but they've been posting the home addresses of the Republican Supreme Court justices and calling for people to go protesting at their homes because they are upset about the opinion piece written by Alito about the Supreme Court overturning the previous abortion ruling of Roe versus Wade. And simply, it's a matter of, does the federal government have that authority to override the states in such a matter? It's always been contentious. It was contentious when it was ruled. And that's what we're dealing with. It's being pushed onto the public in a way that is completely wrong. And people know it, but it's like they turn a blind eye to that part. It is returning it back to the state's rule. So, basically, you're looking at Democratic controlled states. These are things you're not worried about. I would say, personally, I don't think you would be. Republican states have more problems to deal with. I understand that. And, I've heard about what they're planning on, sounds like in Louisiana and possibly Missouri and whatnot. And I will say that the way it's being described, they are going a little extreme and contentious, but we'll have to read those laws fully to see exactly what they say. Now, if they're calling for outright on everything, without any exceptions for medical, safety of those involved, like to protect the lives, then, that's really getting extreme and a little bit overboard. So, and again, it's like I said in the previous episodes, I understand and can see and empathize with the other side of the argument. Even though I may be pro-life, I can see their side of things and be able to understand it. I'm willing to hear what other people's arguments are so that I can make my decision based on whether or not I agree with what they have to say, but I'm willing to listen. And that seems to be something that happens more on the right than it does on the left. On the right, people are more willing to listen to what the other side has to say and then make their decision. Whereas on the left, they're not willing to listen to the other side at all. Their decision is their decision. They don't want to hear what you might have to say because, A, you're probably going to prove them wrong. And they don't want the walls of their argument to come crashing down around them. But again, we're talking about the Supreme Court. We're talking about, the highest court in the land, which is being really looked at by the rest of the world as in very high regards. The United States has a completely independent judicial system in that such, as they are kept away from the politics of things, and attempts are made to keep them from being influenced. Now, we've had Democrat Supreme Court judges that have ruled in ways that the left didn't like and the right did. We've also had Republican Supreme Court justices that have ruled in ways that the Democrats loved and Republicans hated. It just is what it is, and we deal with that. The problem is now is that the Democrats think that every decision needs to be decisions that they want. Remember Chucky Schumer when he threatened Kavanaugh and Gorsuch when abortion cases came before the Supreme Court a couple years ago? Called them out by name, threatened them with the whirlwind of the Senate. You won't know what hit them. And it's he later tried to retract and apologize in a way and say that, oh, I'm from Brooklyn. That's just how we talk. That's bullshit. That's BS. You've been doing this long enough. You've been in politics long enough to know that what you said was absolutely out of line. It's not like you just started this. You've been in politics a long time, and you know for a fact statements like that made toward Supreme Court judges are exactly what they were when they came out of your mouth. But again, we're talking about protesting outside of Supreme Court justices' homes. And people think it's okay to protest outside of judges' homes. Remember the case that happened recently? I think the judge's name Wu or something like that. Dealing with the case where the lady thought she pulled out her taser and it was her gun and shot that guy. And people were protesting outside her house. They gave out the address. People were threatening her life if she did not rule in a manner that they wanted. They threatened to burn down the city if the judge did not rule the way that they wanted. And I'm not speculating that. Those were literally the words that came out of the mouths of the people that were protesting outside of the lady's door. Not just outside the complex, the area where she lived at, but literally at her front door, showing the numbers of the home to the public, to gather more people to come protest, to threaten this woman's life. Now, I'd like to flip the roles on that. And let's just say there's a possibility that you have a black man, that pulled this nonsense that happened with that officer. Would people feel the same way about protesting outside of judges' homes if it were what you would call, what people would label as white supremacists? Protesting the judge? Threatening to burn the city down, threatening violence against the judge if she didn't rule the way that she wanted? I mean, what other things can we say it's okay to protest outside the Supreme Court's homes in order to influence them? Well, that was a big vroom vroom. What other cases are there? I mean, I say that, and I know it sounds like I'm being loose with it, but I'm being serious. What other things would people be okay with trying to pressure and bully judges to deciding how you want? For some reason, people on the left think that they have a monopoly on justice. But let me explain. I think it's ironic that the people that claim to be the purveyors of peace, the more forward-thinking, the more loving, caring side, happens to be the most intolerant, the most violent, the most aggressive, and the most dangerous group of people. They're the kind that will take your hand and smack you in the face with it and ask you, why are you hitting yourself? And you will say, I didn't. You grabbed my hand and did that to me. And they will say, no. I'm a peaceful person. I would never do something like that. But recently, Peter Doocy asked Jen Psaki at the White House about these protests. So let's give this a little quick listen, because the White House, and this is terrible.
These activists posted a map with the home addresses of the Supreme Court justices. Is that the kind of thing this president wants to help your side make their point?
Look, I think the president's view is that there's a lot of passion, a lot of fear, a lot of sadness from many, many people across this country about what they saw in that leaked document. We obviously want people's privacy to be respected. We want people to protest peacefully if they want to protest. That is certainly what the president's view would be.
We want people to protest peacefully if they want. Yeah, but not outside of Supreme Court judges' homes. You are supposed to be condemning these actions. Understand, the White House does not condemn the doxing of Supreme Court justices in order to provoke and threaten them to rule in a way on a case that is currently before them that they want. This should scare everybody to know that this administration is okay with aggression and potential violence towards people that get in their way. Look, this is me. You can say I'm just speculating here, you know what I mean? But this is exactly what it looks like. This is exactly what it appears to be to the American public that actually is thinking clearly about this. There's no scenario where there's a case before a court that it is okay to ever release the private information to the locations of the judges, witnesses, jurors, police, those involved. That's called tampering. That is illegal. And unless I'm mistaken, we have these things on the books. I believe that there is an actual law for this. So it's not just a matter of speculation. The White House is clearly okay with the idea of breaking laws if it benefits them. Rules for thee, but not for we, it seems to be. And what we're talking about here is 18 USC 1507. Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedure, Picketing or Parading. And what it goes on to say in base terms is, whoever with the intent of interfering with, obstructing, or impeding the administration of justice, or with the intent of influencing any judge, juror, witness, or court officer in the discharge of his duty, pickets or parades in or near a building housing a court of the United States, or in or near a building or residence occupied or used by such judge, juror, witness, or court officer, or with such intent uses any sound truck or similar device, or resorts to any other demonstration in or near any such building or residence, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both. So it's not like it's a heavy crime, but still it is criminal. And I would have no problems. Look, I'm okay with protesting outside the Supreme Court. I have no problems with that. I completely understand that. But following them home, following judges home because you think they might not rule in a way you want. We have a-holes literally right now on the internet posing it as quote unquote thought questions. But what would happen if something happened to the Supreme Court justices? We have idiots on the internet posing threats towards Supreme Court justices, trying to mask it as thought question, these little thought ideas, thought debates, or, whatever I forget the exact word that they called it, but these little moments of trying to, these thought games or something, but nonetheless, these could be taken as threats to them. Understanding people know that there are people out there who will say, yeah, what if? And there are people who will say, yeah, they'll do it. I mean, understand that should anything happen to any of the family members or any of the Supreme Court justices in any way whatsoever, the groups that leaked their addresses online should be held accountable to the highest degree. The current administration, the president, should be held accountable to the highest degree for not even condemning such actions, more or less promoting it. Oh, he believes in peaceful protest. People should be allowed to protest, but apparently they feel so vehemently against the decision that the Supreme Court might make that, well, we can allow protests outside their homes for this. This is the White House. What fun, what joy have they brought to the United States? But in the news of what's happening to women, let's talk about something serious that's happening to women. Oh, I know I'm probably going to have a whole lot of people upset about the fact that I, as a man, am talking about women's issues, but I want people to be aware of such things that maybe you're missing that might be important. There are women in this world that are having to deal with real problems that we must never forget. And that would be the ladies of Afghanistan. Yes, the ladies of Afghanistan, whom we've covered over in a few episodes, left behind to fend for their own under the Taliban regime. A place where now women are not supposed to listen to music. A place where women and men are having to sell their organs to feed their children. A place where men and women are having to sell children to feed their other children. Yes, that is happening. We have people selling their organs. This is happening. This is absolutely insane. The place is worse off than it was before. Like I said before, they've had to evacuate the female judges and politicians because they were going to be executed as examples to the rest of the women. Women are not allowed to do art. Can't travel by yourself. And if that wasn't enough, it gets even... No, I'm not going to say better because I can't even be satirical about that. It gets a whole lot worse. As now the Taliban has ordered all Afghan women to wear the all-covering burqa in public. Yes, it has become law. No more showing your faces. Yeah, I know, Lemon. Yes, that's the Bengal. She's upset about it as well. Announcing the decision to make the burqa mandatory for all women in Afghanistan, once again, marking an escalation of growing restrictions on women in public, the acting minister for the Taliban's Ministry of Vice and Virtue said, "We want our sisters to live with dignity and safety." Yes, the blue burqa became a global symbol of the Taliban's previous regime in Afghanistan from 1996 until 2001, and the decision to make it mandatory again marks an escalation of growing restrictions on women in public. The Minister for the Propagation of Virtue and the Prevention of Vice read a decree from the group's supreme leader. As it said, we want our sisters to live with dignity and safety. Said Khalid Hanafi, who is the acting minister for the all-male ministry, which replaced the country's women's ministry after they took control, after Biden basically boggled up the evacuation, which was a retreat, a surrender to the Taliban. The decree says that if a woman does not cover her face outside the home, her father or closest male relative would be visited and eventually imprisoned or fired from government jobs. It also states that if women have no important work to be done outside, it is better for them to stay at home. Yes, yes. And I just think that this is absolutely shitty. Women are not allowed to go to school anymore. I just want to make sure that people don't forget that. Okay? No more school after the 6th grade. That's it. Now that is a place that has returned to the absolute dark ages. But we can't talk about that. No, I'm not trying to conflate anything, but I just want to make people aware of things that are happening around the world. These are big things. These are situations, and I'm saying this because I wouldn't put faith in this White House. I have no, you're supposed to give them a shot. No matter who wins, you give them a chance to prove whether or not they should or should not be in there. And the president has proven that he should not have been in that office from day one. But these are women's issues that have happened because of this White House administration. This is what they left behind. They talk about how they care so much about women, but look what they left and did to Afghanistan. They don't even have the gall to talk about it. You don't even hear about this on any of the Western media. Well, let me rephrase that, on the American media. Ask yourself. Really, ask yourself. When have you heard on your television that the female judges had to be evacuated out of Afghanistan? Did you hear that women can't do art? These are the actual sufferings of young ladies in Afghanistan. They're back. These are the real sufferings. And they have been completely ignored since the U.S. has left. As if they were not responsible. Just like the Saudi Arabian slave trade that erupted in Libya after the toppling of Gaddafi by the United States illegally. They don't talk about it because apparently they act like it's not their fault. This administration has proven time and time again that they not only do not know what they're doing, but they're intentionally doing it bad. And they're putting in all these, they're removing all the stops in order to try and secure one way or another the seats that they have and not lose and probably try and gain a few more in November. Understand that they've created this government disinformation board. What do you think that's going to do? I mean, the White House, let's be honest, they're using the DOJ and DHS as their own police. They've given themselves this crown as if they are the kings of all. They have made themselves the arbiters of information as they see it. People can call it conspiracy theory. You can say that, oh, I'm just screaming to the high heavens of fallacies. None of that makes any sense. There's no way they would do that. Understand, the Democrats have given themselves the label of the arbiters of truth. They have been working with social media openly and admitting to it to control the flow of information. They've been working with big tech openly and admitting to it to control the flow of information. And we're heading up to elections in November, and people think it's a conspiracy that they might use that to their advantage. Considering you have many big tech industries that have been found, these companies have been found to be censoring Republicans at higher rates. They are not playing ball with a fair mind. This is going to get ugly. But I hope that we can keep it peaceable and we can have a nice, safe elections this November coming up, and we can see them go bye-bye out of their seats and go home because they've already done enough damage. But we'll just have to wait and see how this atmosphere keeps going, and hopefully, maybe, some of these people on the left will begin to actually do their jobs, the jobs they were elected to do, and not use the government as their own personal pipe dream. And hopefully, some of these on the right that have been acting the same slack will also do the same and do some damn work. Now, this is not to say that everyone on either side is terrible, but the ones that are terrible need to do some work, or as they used to say, they need to either shape up or ship out, shit or get off the pot. But I guess we'll see what happens leading up. But I thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.